Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. Almost everyone who has ever tried to lose weight knows the exact feeling of laying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, fighting a battle against their own brain. You promised yourself you would eat clean today. You counted your calories, you had your salads, you drank your water. But it's 11 at night, and your mind is screaming at you to go open the fridge and eat whatever you can find. That mental noise, that constant, exhausting tug-of-war with hunger, is why diets fail. It drains your willpower until you finally give in. Now, imagine someone walked up to you and handed you a pen with a tiny needle. They tell you that with just one painless shot a week, all those late-night cravings simply disappear. You won't crave pizza anymore. You won't care about dessert. You won't even feel like finishing your lunch. You will eat 4 bites of food, feel completely stuffed, and watch 30, 40, or 50 pounds melt off your body while you barely lift a finger. That sounds like a miracle, right? It sounds like humanity finally solved the puzzle of obesity. That exact promise is why Ozempic became the single most viral, talked about drug on the planet. Celebrities take it. Your coworkers are talking about it. Millions of everyday people are spending over $1,000 a month just to get their hands on a single box. Ozempic is not a passive weight loss supplement, and it is definitely not magic. It is a potent synthetic drug that enters your system and fundamentally rewires the conversation between your brain, your stomach, and your metabolism. It can do incredible things for people who truly need it, but it also comes with a heavy physical bill that very few people talk about until they are already paying it. Before you ever consider touching that needle, you deserve the honest truth. You deserve to know why it works, what happens inside your organs, and what it actually costs your body. To really understand what this drug does, we need to take a step back and look at how your body normally manages food. For thousands of years, your ancestors had no idea when their next meal was coming. Because of that, your body evolved to be terrified of starvation. Whenever your stomach sits empty for too long, it releases a hormone called ghrelin. You can think of ghrelin as the hunger alarm. It travels straight up to your brain and sounds the siren. Go find energy, go find sugar, go find fat. Once you finally sit down and eat a good meal, your intestines realize food has arrived. In response, they release an opposing hormone called GLP-1. GLP-1 is your natural brake pedal. It travels into your bloodstream and tells your pancreas to produce insulin to manage the incoming sugar. At the exact same time, it reaches your brain's appetite center and delivers a clear message. We have enough fuel. Turn off the cravings. You can stop eating now. Here is the key detail. In a natural, healthy human body, that natural GLP-1 signal is short-lived. Your blood contains an enzyme that breaks it down within 2 to 3 minutes after you finish eating. That is why you feel satisfied right after dinner, but you naturally wake up hungry again the next morning. It is a balanced, rhythmic cycle designed to keep you alive. Now let's look at what Ozempic actually is. Its active ingredient is a molecule called semaglutide. Scientists created semaglutide to mimic your body's natural GLP-1 hormone, but they engineered one massive difference. They modified the molecular structure, so your natural enzymes cannot break it down. Instead of disappearing in 3 minutes, the synthetic hormone stays active, circulating in your bloodstream, for an entire week. Think about that for a second. You are taking a signal that is naturally meant to last for minutes after a meal, and keeping it turned on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you inject that molecule, it takes over your physiology using 2 distinct levers. The first lever happens inside your head. Semaglutide crosses into your brain and directly binds to the receptors that govern appetite and reward. It completely mutes that constant mental obsession with food. If you are someone who struggled with compulsive overeating, sugar cravings, or emotional snacking, the volume gets turned down to absolute zero. Food stops being an emotional comfort or a dopamine hit. It simply becomes neutral. The second lever happens in your gut. Under normal conditions, your stomach churns your food, breaks it down, and empties it into your small intestine over 2 to 4 hours. Ozempic hits the emergency brake on that entire process. It slows down stomach motility so drastically that food remains sitting in your stomach for hours longer than normal. Because the physical walls of your stomach stay stretched, the physical stretch receptors inside your gut keep firing signals to your brain. We are completely full. Do not send down another bite. You sit down at a dinner table, take 2 or 3 bites of food, and physically feel like you just ate a Thanksgiving feast. To be fair, we have to look at both sides. There's a good reason this drug became so popular. For millions of people dealing with serious health conditions, it actually works. Ozempic was originally engineered as a treatment for type 2 diabetes. In diabetic patients, it forces the pancreas to release insulin only when blood sugar is elevated. It stabilizes glucose spikes, reduces long-term complications, and protects vital organs. When researchers began studying it specifically for chronic obesity, the results were undeniable. In major clinical trials, patients with severe obesity lost an average of 15% of their total starting body weight over a little more than a year. If someone weighs 260 pounds, losing 40 pounds takes massive mechanical pressure off their knees, lowers their blood pressure, clears dangerous fat from their liver, and significantly lowers their risk of suffering a heart attack or stroke. For someone whose excess weight is actively threatening their life, those benefits are monumental. The trouble begins when people view this serious metabolic drug as an easy, casual lifestyle hack to drop 20 pounds before a summer vacation. To understand what this looks like when the initial excitement wears off, consider the documented clinical case of a 42-year-old accountant named Mark. Mark was not diabetic, but like millions of adults, he spent his 30s and early 40s slowly gaining weight while sitting at a desk, dealing with work stress and grabbing whatever food was convenient. He found himself nearly 40 pounds heavier than he wanted to be. Busy schedules made regular gym sessions difficult, and traditional diets felt impossible to maintain. So Mark paid out of pocket to get a prescription for weekly semaglutide injections. For the first 3 months, Mark felt like he had discovered a life hack. The weight started dropping immediately. The persistent cravings for snacks during his long workdays completely vanished. He would routinely go entire workdays eating less than 800 calories simply because he forgot to eat lunch. By the end of 12 weeks, he had lost 22 pounds. He was thrilled with the results. By month 4, his doctor increased his weekly dose to the standard maintenance level, and the physical reality of the drug caught up with him. Because his stomach was barely emptying, food was sitting inside his digestive tract for so long that it began to ferment. Mark woke up every single morning with a wave of deep nausea. He developed constant, painful sulfur-tasting burps, severe acid reflux that kept him awake at night, and persistent constipation that left him feeling bloated and exhausted. He was not working out because he felt completely drained, and because he had almost zero appetite, he was barely consuming any protein throughout the day. When his medical team eventually conducted a body composition scan at month 6, they discovered a disturbing reality. Mark had lost 34 pounds total, but nearly 45% of that lost weight was not body fat. It was lean skeletal muscle. His body had literally consumed its own muscle tissue for fuel, causing his baseline metabolic rate to crash. By month 8, Mark was miserable. He was constantly fatigued, dealing with daily digestive pain, and spending hundreds of dollars every month on medication. He decided enough was enough and stopped taking the injections. Within 3 weeks, the drug cleared his system. And that was when the rebound hit. Because his natural appetite hormones had been suppressed for 8 months, they roared back with a vengeance. His hunger returned stronger than it had ever been before. But there was a major catch. Because Mark had lost so much muscle mass, his resting metabolism burned significantly fewer calories each day than when he first started. Over the next 5 months, Mark regained every single pound he had lost. But his body composition was worse than day 1. He now had a higher body fat percentage, less functional muscle, and a slower metabolism. Mark's story is not an isolated fluke. It is a direct reflection of what clinical research shows across thousands of patients. When you strip away the social media hype, there are 4 major physical costs your body has to navigate. First is the toll on your digestive system. Slowing down your digestion to an unnatural crawl comes with severe side effects. Persistent nausea, sudden vomiting, chronic diarrhea, and painful constipation are extremely common. In severe documented cases, some patients develop gastroparesis, a condition where the stomach essentially becomes paralyzed, requiring urgent medical care. Others face inflamed gallbladders and acute pancreatitis. Second is the hidden loss of muscle mass and bone density. When you slash your calories down to extreme lows overnight without adequate protein intake and heavy resistance training, your body does not just burn fat. It catabolizes your muscle for energy. Losing lean muscle wrecks your metabolic engine and leaves you physically weaker. Third is what many people call Ozempic face and sudden skin changes. Rapid, aggressive fat loss drains volume from your body faster than your skin can shrink. People often notice sunken cheeks, hollowed eyes, and sudden skin sagging because the structural fat beneath the skin disappears too quickly. Fourth, and perhaps most important, is the reality of long-term dependency. Ozempic does not fix your underlying relationship with food. It does not teach you how to cook wholesome meals, manage stress without snacking, or build consistent exercise habits. It is simply a chemical pause button on your appetite. The moment you let go of that button, the biology resumes. Major medical studies show that when patients stop taking semaglutide, the vast majority regain 2/3 of the lost weight within the first year. That means to keep the results, most people are expected to stay on these expensive, weekly injections for the rest of their lives. So, when you look at the entire picture, what does Ozempic actually cost you? If you are fighting severe type 2 diabetes or life-threatening obesity under close medical supervision, the benefits can genuinely save your life. The trade-offs are often well worth the protection against heart disease and metabolic collapse. If you are looking at it as an effortless cosmetic shortcut to drop a few pounds without changing how you live, the cost is clear. You are trading your daily digestive comfort for artificial appetite control. You are trading precious muscle mass and metabolic health for a smaller number on a scale. And you risk trapping yourself in a cycle of pharmaceutical dependency. Modern science can invent incredible tools, but no weekly injection will ever replace lifting weights, eating real whole foods, getting good sleep, and building habits that belong to you. What do you think about the rise of weight loss injections? Would you ever consider taking one, or have you tried them yourself? Share your experience down in the comments. If you want honest, deep dive breakdowns of what popular health trends are really doing to your body, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on What It Costs You.